Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here. Today we're into the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Moveset video guide on how to use Sceptile. Another pretty requested Pokemon. I'll probably do all the starters just because that's what people want to see, as well as the other Lake Trio. But if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure you let me know by leaving a like and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm on my way to 300k. That is my end of the year goal. I'm uploading 2 to 3 Pokemon videos a day. You got Moveset guides, you got Showdown Lives, you got Wi-Fi battles. Today I also have a video talking about the Pokemon leaks. Don't worry. The thumbnail is not a spoiler, and even the first 2 minutes of the video you can't be spoiled even if you accidentally scroll through it. But yeah, a lot of great stuff happening as well. But if you guys do enjoy these videos, let me know. And also, I know I'm talking a lot, but before I even talk about Sceptile, but later today at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'll be streaming on twitch.tv/pokeaim. I'm in the Pokemon Challenges Invitational versus like Ludwig and Woofy and Northern Lion. There's a lot of, big names in that if you guys want to check it out on twitch.tv/pokeaim. But Sceptile's a pretty cool Pokemon. It did get a little bit of a nerf just because, well, in this one there is no acrobatics for it, on top of the fact that it doesn't have access to hidden power, so it can't run hidden power ice or fire. So it kind of struggles versus opposing grass types, but that doesn't mean that Sceptile is not a fantastic Pokemon. The first set we have is the Choice Spec set, one of my favorite sets on Sceptile. You honestly could run a Life Orb on this too, if you wanted. But Choice Spec is really cool because Sceptile has two great things going for it: high special attack and very high speed. So for the most part, Sceptile is a lower tier Pokemon, and it's usually faster than everything else in the tier. And because Sceptile is also considered RU by usage, if you actually look at the UU tier, because Crobat's UU and Sceptile's RU, unless you bring Sceptile up to UU, you don't really ever have to face a Crobat, which is pretty nice because your Leaf Storm, Giga Drain, and Focus Blast / Dragon Pulse are going to be doing neutral or super effective damage to basically everything in the tier, besides like Shedinja. So Leaf Storm and Giga Drain are your main ways. Leaf Storm is a nuke. Coming off of that base 105 special attack, you go for it. Even like resistances like fire types like Arcanine will take like 30, 40%, 45% of their offensive, couple in with Stealth Rock, right? Giga Drain is your secondary grass move. It's when you don't want to miss, also when you can pick up a reliable KO and also heal Sceptile back. So it works as a good offensive and defensive weapon. Focus Blast is there for steel types that resist Leaf Storm and Giga Drain, obviously. It's also good just neutral versus fires and stuff like that. If you do manage to land, it's a cool attack. And then Dragon Pulse is your last coverage, giving you coverage versus dragons, of course, but also nice neutral as well, and good versus Pokemon like Altaria. Besides that, it doesn't really have too many other special attacks you can run. If you don't want to run Giga Drain and you want more power, you can run Energy Ball over Giga Drain. It's 90 base power and you can drop their special defense. But of course, Giga Drain 75 versus 90 is not too much of a big deal. But I think the main thing is that you can get recovery off of it. And the cool thing is you run Overgrow with this, right? So the lower Sceptile gets, the stronger your Leaf Storm and Giga Drain will be. So it allows Sceptile to just be a giant threat. Again, you could run this with a Life Orb over Choice Specs if you want. But I think the important part is to run Timid Sceptile with this. Now, the next set we have is another set with the Overgrow set, and this is another way you can use Sceptile to potentially beat Pokemon that might beat it 1v1 normally, like Registeel or just Fire types. And this is Sub Leech Seed. Being a fast Pokemon, it makes your substitutes and your Leech Seeds a lot more annoying because even though an Arcanine could come in and Flare Blitz you, if you're behind a sub and you go for Leech Seed, not only are they taking recoil by going for Flare Blitz, you're also recovering most of that back with your Leech Seed and your leftovers. Same exact EVs as the offensive one because I think you still want to be able to do massive damage with Giga Drain and Focus Blast. And the less HP you have, the more you're recovering as well via Leech Seed. But yeah, substitute, Leech Seed, Giga Drain. This is all your ways of recovering, plus with leftovers for the longevity. And then you do have Focus Blast for the steel types. This is pretty cool too because substitute also allows it to avoid, let's say a Registeel is in and it goes for Thunder Wave as you go for substitute. Obviously substitute blocks that, and now you're behind a substitute. Hopefully your Leech Seed lands and you can just stall it down as it's Seism Tossing you, getting it lower and lower until you feel comfortable enough to click Focus Blast and knock it out, making Sceptile a very deadly Pokemon. And again, this also benefits from the fact that Crobat is an UU and Sceptile is an RU because you have the fact that there's no Infiltrator, for the most part, Pokemon that can deal with Sceptile. Now, Sceptile does have other abilities as well. We do have the Unburden ability, but I'll talk about Unburden in a second. I do have some sets here with Unburden, but this one's also Swords Dance with Overgrow. Now, the reason this is Swords Dance with Overgrow is because right now there's not a lot that could activate Sceptile safely, I would say, but that doesn't mean you can't use it acrobatics. Excuse me, with Unburden. But yeah, this is Jolly, max attack, max speed. The Lumberry is there mainly so you can set up in front of bulky waters like Vaporeon going for Scalds or Rotom's going for Will-O-Wisp. And the idea is to use Sceptile as a physical sweeper. Now, depending on the tier or where you are using Sceptile and what Pokemon you think you're facing, that's where your moveset goes. You have Swords Dance. Leaf Blade is great, obviously 100% accurate, and also has a nice chance to crit. So I like that a lot. For Sceptile, I think it actually gives it a lot of potential chances to beat things that it normally wouldn't. And then you have Earthquake. I like Earthquake more than Drain Punch. The reason I like that is because Sceptile's not the bulkiest Pokemon, right? So while Drain Punch can be cool, 75 versus 100, and can recover your HP, in this regard, it's not stab or anything, so you're not actually always picking up KOs on Steel types at +2, whereas Earthquake, that 100 base power makes a difference, and you actually are going to be able to pick up KOs in most cases. And your last move is kind of a toss-up depending on what you want. Iron Tail is cool for fairy types if you're like a Togekiss or something like that. Or anything, just any type of fairy type, really. Better versus Gardevoir and stuff like that too. However, if you don't want to use Iron Tail, Dragon Claw can be there for, again, dragons. It's decent neutral as well, but mainly for dragons. Like Altaria, Flygon, etc. And then if you don't want to use either of those, you can use Rock Slide. And Rock Slide is an option for potentially hitting flying types as well as rock types as well. That might be flying at the same rate. Like Moltres, for instance, a +2 rock, so easily knocking it out. So it kind of depends on what you think you're going to be fighting with Sceptile and what really benefits your team. In terms of using Sceptile, I think that you should usually have offensive partners. I think it's a great offensive Pokemon. So I like Spikers, like Frostlass. It's a great Sash lead Spiker. I do have a moveset guide on that if you want to check that out as well. I think it's a fantastic partner. Offensively, I also like the combination of Sceptile, Sharpedo, and Arcanine. Sharpedo also benefits from the same type of team that Sceptile does, aka Spikes, and it has a speed boost, and it can it appreciates the fact that Sceptile switches in on bulky waters, which Sharpedo can go for a crunch and do a lot of damage, but for the most part, it doesn't like taking on bulky waters because it can't kill them in 1 or 2 hits usually, and also it can get burnt by Scald, so there comes Sceptile coming in, and this is not just necessarily the Swords and stuff, but Specs as well, and it can just deal with those via Leaf Storm and Giga Drain. And then Arcanine is really cool too, because it can also switch in on the grass type attacks aimed at Sharpedo, and also appreciates Sceptile coming in on the water type attack. So the Fire, Water, Grass core is really nice with Spikes as well, and Sceptile just provides some nice speed for the team too. So those are just some really nice ones in my opinion. I also think like if you want to use this like in a higher tier, Magnezone is a great partner just because it deals with Scizor as well as Skarmory, something that Sceptile doesn't deal with too well. I wish it kind of got Nasty Plot or like Bulk Up, but yeah, it doesn't. So next up, we have this should be Unburden. We do have an Unburden set for Sceptile. Again, on this one, I like Overgrow better just because your Leaf Blades get stronger. You could run Unburden on Lumberry, but it's not going to prop most of the time, right? It's just for safekeeping there. But we do have Unburden on this, and in order to get it to activate, we are running Endure plus Swords Dance. So we have Endure, Swords Dance, Leaf Blade, and Earthquake. You can kind of change your coverage depending on what you want, but the idea is you go for Swords Dance as something comes in that can make your revenge kill. You say it's like a Scarf Magmortar or something, like a Scarf Fire type or anything like that, or anything. Like, you go for Swords Dance as they come in, then you go for Endure, as you know they are supposed to outspeed you, but Endure lets you survive the hit. They bring you down to like 1 HP. You get your Lychee Berry to activate, so now instead of having just +2 attack, you do have +3 attack because you have the one on top of that, and now your Unburden is activated. You are now doubled in speed, making Sceptile, incredibly fast and a giant threat. So I picked Leaf Blade and Earthquake as a coverage. I think Leaf Blade should always be on Sceptile sets, but you can decide between Earthquake or something you want. Also, just a note, this set too can also run X-Scissor for opposing grass types if that's something you're worried about as well. So there's just all options there. But yeah, this just allows Sceptile to be a very scary sleeper. Again, Spikes are fantastic with this. I like Nidoqueen plus Sceptile as well, or Nidoking plus Sceptile, just because Nidoking and Queen appreciate Sceptile breaking through physical walls, or excuse me, special walls, whereas it appreciates Sceptile, or Sceptile appreciates them breaking through physical walls as well, just with like things like Thunderbolt and Ice Beam and Earth Power and Sludge Wave respectively. So they work really well together in that regard as well. But again, just using it to prop that Unburden. Unburden means, if you guys didn't know, when you use your item, you double your speed. Of course, if you switch out, though, it's not going to activate anymore. Also, if you didn't know, if you get knocked off as well, you get your Unburden too. But again, if you switch out Sceptile, it's not as good. I don't like Adamant too much on this, but you could run Adamant on this for sure. And then lastly, we also have a sub Swords Dance set with a Citrus Berry, and the idea is to get SCEPTILE to activate its own thing with Substitute. Of course, you could change Substitute to an attack as well if you want to, whether it be Rock Slide, Dragon Claw. Well, not really Dragon Claw, but I think Swords Dance X is a Leaf Blade, Earthquake is fine. Swords Dance, Rock Slide, Leaf Blade is fine as well. This one can be specifically on Sticky Web teams, Ariados, Smeargle, Shuckle, all great partners for that. But yeah, the idea is that you Swords Dance up, and then you go for sub as something is coming to attack you, and as soon as your Substitute activates, you get to half health, a Citrus Berry will activate, and allowing SCEPTILE to basically be able to get its double speed. You go adamant on this one as well because you have Substitute to help you out, in my opinion, but I like on the Endure set, you could also, I guess, technically go adamant, but I just like how fast it is, man. Like, even on this one, I would slash adamant or jolly. I just think it just depends on what tier you're playing. Where let's just look at the RU tier, for instance, just to give you a good idea. But if you look at the RU tier, there's not too many fast Pokemon. If you look at it, base 100 at Charizard, which you are faster than, you can run Rock Slide if you want it. You have Dojo, which is something you're faster than, but you can't really hit it too well after. You have Electro, which is something that can't really even hit you too well. And besides that, like random float, so Frostlass is one of the mons you want to be faster than. But then besides that, there's not too much that's actually that fast. Jolteon can't really do too much anyway to you, and they'll activate. If they're Spec Shadow Ball, they'll activate your Citrus Berry anyway. You can Swords Dance up in front of them. So it's kind of up to you what you want to use. Speaking of Jolteon and Electro, pretty decent partners. Electro can set up screens for it, and boom. Whereas Jolteon just can pivot and Volt Switch and Thunderbolt around the flying types that otherwise deal with SCEPTILE. But yeah, that's basically all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Stay tuned. I have a video at 2 p.m. using Macargo, which is really nice, defensive Macargo. And then at 4 p.m. I have an hour-and-a-half video and longer talking about the new Pokemon Legends Arceus leaks. Of course, like I said, there is a spoiler-free thumbnail, and the first 2 minutes is spoiler-free as well, and that just because I want it to be safe, I don't want people being spoiled, because if I didn't want to be spoiled, I don't care about being spoiled, but if I didn't want to be spoiled, I wouldn't want that for other people too. Oh, another thing you can do, by the way, just one last thing. If you didn't want to run Focus Blast on this, you can run Protect. Just allowing you to have even more recovery turn per turn and just be extremely annoying. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Again, at 2 p.m. Eastern as well, I also have that stream that I'll be on. And yeah, twitch.tv/pokeaim. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.